Good morning, Rising Shine. Welcome to Uncle Sam's Static Kaleidoscope, Bedlam Media's premier morning podcast. Is our show to kick off your morning right and help you get through your busy workday, or in this case, your morning commute, unless you're remote or off today. Guys, before we begin, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, share the show with your friends, subscribe, listen, let everyone know that we are back. As previously stated on Wednesday's episode, I'm thinking, depending on how frequent I can get this done, I might stick to the Monday, Wednesday, Friday format. If not, we are going to switch to a Tuesday, Thursday format. So depending on how things go, I've had family coming down actually today. So my parents will be here today, and they'll be here for a couple of weeks. So that being said, let's get right into it. So this was actually, I think, the talking point that I wanted to record to discuss, to pretty much bring, get back into the swing of the show. Because there's a lot of things going on right now, and a lot of things that really irk me. That might be the word I'm looking for. Most importantly, nostalgia. I'm gonna start with saying I'm a big nostalgia fan. Ever since when I was younger, I loved old music, obviously. I loved old movies. I have a Laserdisc player. We've talked about nostalgia here. I have movies, music. I have my parents' Nintendo from when I was born. And I know we had a whole conversation about physical media, if you will. And having physical media is awesome. It's great. You don't have to fight with the streaming services if it goes down or something like that. But this is physical media side. This is enjoying, there's a line with nostalgia. I want to bring us back to a few years ago, and even recently, Toys R Us. Toys R Us is, come and gone. The era of that, malls are disappearing. Blockbuster's gone for obvious reasons, kind of use that as the example as well. But somehow we cling to this nostalgic, or this desire for the good times, if you will. Everyone's like, oh, the 80s and 90s were the best. Yeah, cool. I love going back and playing Super Mario Bros. 3 on my Nintendo when it works and I can get it to work. I love playing, I love watching, what movie did I watch the other day? I forgot what I just watched. It's Ghostbusters. I watch Ghostbusters every, around Halloween time. It is Halloween, guys. Classic Halloween movie. But man, I feel like we're in a culture now where everything's nostalgic. We got to think about nostalgia. This was fun. This was great. This is when times were good. We need to bring this back. Toys R Us I use for an example, where now I think it's Macy's, and I don't have the article in front of me, and I should have been more prepared, but we have this problem where we want to bring everything nostalgic back. Everything should be nostalgia. Nostalgia. And again, it's great. Sometimes going back and reminiscing about old stuff, might spark something where, hey, we can do this musically, or we can do this, hey, I have a business idea. Arcade bars are one of them where, we have this, arcades are an old thing. The Gen Xers, millennials, they were arcade people. Now they drink. So what if we mix the bar and an arcade bar and put those together? And yes, sometimes it's not always drinking. And these people who now have kids, they're bringing them here and they're having that experience rather than just being on their phones or being in front of the TV. And that's fun. But, in regard to, I think nostalgia has gone too far. Let me start with there. When we're talking about bringing back stores, I miss Toys R Us. I remember the days that Toys R Us, my parents would bring me there and I'd see all the toys, this and that. Maybe I'm a little sour at Toys R Us. I never liked going to Toys R Us as a kid because I didn't like shopping. And Toys R Us was the bribe that my father would use to get us to behave. He would laugh about that. He's like, you're the only kids that didn't like going to Toys R Us. Yeah, because when you're out and about for 8 hours a day and you want to go home, that's besides the point, though. But I think we're really stuck in nostalgia. It's become I'm going to use the word toxic. It gets thrown around a lot. But like, man, we're stuck on everything old. Everything's got to be, nostalgic. The stores, economically, the stores don't work. If Toys R Us went to an online model, sure, you might get it to work. But again, you got to fight with Amazon. This isn't just if we bring it back online, it'll last. No, there are models out there. Why are you going to spend money at Toys R Us as an online store when you can go over to Amazon and get it cheaper? Whether you want to argue the ethics of that or not, or you can go support an actual small business. Toys R Us, I guess you could maybe consider a small business, but it's a very well-known name brand from the 80s, 90s, 2000s. It's gone. It's kaput. But people want to bring this stuff back. Bed Bath & Beyond just closed, but I was just reading that they already going to open it up. And maybe this isn't nostalgia related. They were going to open up, I think, as a section like the container store. Again, I mean, that's something maybe minor. But even Star Wars comes to mind. Marvel comes to mind. Beetlejuice. Okay, so Beetlejuice, I think, is a great example of nostalgia that works. And you can get into the ins and outs and how content is. I have a big problem with existing content. So this isn't me saying that all new content or all new things are great, but you need to take from. Hey, look at that. It makes like little eyes if I put my hands there. It looks a little weird if you're watching this on video, but whatever. There's a healthy take on nostalgia, and then there's again, just Star Wars work, we should make more Star Wars content, or Marvel work, we should make more Marvel content. Bands who I wish they made albums like they used to make, but then it's like, they just they're making the same album over and over again. Video games is another one, and that's more of a thing with what's the word I'm looking for here? The developers. That's more of a developer problem where we keep buying like Black Ops. We keep buying Madden year after year after year. And they think, this is great. They want to buy it. And they will buy it. But the games are junk. And we're fueling junk. Beetlejuice, I think, is a good example where they were able to, if you saw the second one, Beetlejuice, I highly recommend it. It was actually really, really good. It's not the first one, obviously, but practical effects, it felt like a Beetlejuice movie. Like, it felt like the sequel to the second one. Didn't feel forced. Michael Keaton all the cast in there was great. They didn't go over the top with CGI. A lot of it was the clay animated stuff still. It was Tim Burton. Tim Burton made a Tim Burton movie in 2024. Like, this felt like if Tim Burton made this back in the early 90s. And it was the right nostalgia. It worked really well. Where you can go back and go, hey, that was great. That was fun. That made me feel good. Whereas, oh man, what the heck did I just watch? I go back to TV and movies, but I'm thinking about stores. Toys R Us came to mind. Anytime you think of wrestling's another good one. We could have a conversation with the boys at, Above the Ring about nostalgia and be like, things should be the way it used to be. And that's not always the case. There is some great things about going back and looking at nostalgic content, doing nostalgic things, going to nostalgic places. But I think we are in an over nostalgic stimulated world where it's just burnt out. I wish I had better examples for you. I was just literally thinking about this, and I should have written some more of this down. But man, everything has to be this way it used to be, and that's not the case. We can look to the past to look to the future, and I think that's very important. I think that should go with everything. But to dwell on the past and say we just need to be here all the time doesn't lead to better things, better progress. The last video I was looking at while I was recording this that I recorded, again, I think it was March, was about Dune. You know, you look at Dune. I mean, it's an old book. It's 60 years old. I wouldn't say it's nostalgic. It was created as a movie. It was made by a movie by David Lynch back in the early 80s. Didn't do well. But then Denis Villeneuve makes this two-part masterpiece, and soon to be a third covering the second book. And man, as a great, as a current movie, incredible. Look into the past to look to the future. Great concept. Yeah, that's the gist of it. I think we really need to stop focusing on, oh, I missed this. This needs to come back. No, it doesn't. Let it sit there, because there's going to come a point where, and again, I will keep saying it with the Disney stuff. I'll keep saying it with things that we keep recreating over and over and over and over again. There's no fresh ideas. There's no fresh, new experiences. We're going to be stuck on the same thing over and over again. Pokemon Arceus is a good example where it totally took Pokemon, took the formula and threw it out the window and went, hey, we're going to do this instead. And I love Pokemon. And I'm a sucker for Pokemon games, and I will always buy them. But Arceus threw that out the window and go, we're going to do this. This is what we're going to do. It's going to be unique. And everyone's like, hey, they should do this more. So, and that's just using talk about a particular game franchise. But when you talk about, originality, I mean, you think about film's another good one where it's like, oh, Fast and Furious made $1 billion. Let's make another one. Well, what about this small film product over here? No. I remember how good the first Fast and Furious movie was, and they've been great ever since. We're going to continue doing this. And maybe I'm going on a tangent that has nothing to do with nostalgia, but I think we need to embrace innovative new ideas in terms of new content, in terms of new economic, and I say that like with Toys R Us and whatnot. There's a huge small market right now, or a small business market, if you will, with all these other products coming out, whether it be, craft beers or, I don't know, I'll use my Ridge wallet for an example. My Ridge wallet, where you got a leather wallet, but how about this thing here? Rather than going, I remember my leather wallet from 30 damn years ago. That was, I wish I had another leather wallet. What's it gonna do? It's not gonna do anyone any good. But guys, those are my thoughts. Tell me what you think down in the comments below. Don't forget again to like, share, subscribe. Follow myself as this will be official on X, Instagram. I have a Facebook, but I'm not going to give that one publicly. I'm on Threads as well. That's a cesspool. That's a conversation for another day. Follow Above the Ring. HR's War is back as well. Guys, as always, we're out of time. Do not forget, as always,